Alright, so I just made it into the top 48 in the Supreme League of AFK journey, and I want to have a little bit of fun and talk about the strategic adjustments that I'm going to go ahead and be making to attempt to take out my next opponent. And if I do manage to take him out, that is it for me. I am not making it past Agma. Agma has way too many fully souped up Celestials and Hypogeans. I mean, where did you get all those Slumber Essences, my guy? That is a lot of Slumber Essences. Why would you even max Contest? What does she even get from that? An extra 10 healing and 10 haste? That's just superfluous. Anyways, but if I can take out this guy, then I will have pushed everything as far as I can reasonably push it. And I have the luxury right now of having actually faced him last round. So not only do I know his lineup, I know the positionings of his lineup from last round. And I am going to base a lot of my adjustments on the idea that he doesn't change his lineup since he beat me last round. But if he does, then things could get interesting, so we'll see. And he is one of the ones who I predicted to beat me last round. I had a little bit of fun last round. I went through all the matches one by one, and I tried to predict which ones I would win, which ones I would lose. I was actually only wrong on 14 total matches, which means I averaged less than one error per round. And I was correct on all of the overall wins and losses I would get other than one. I predicted I was going to go 9-6, and I ended up going 8-7. Anyways, so this is the matchup that I had against him last round. And when I looked at the one-by-one rounds trying to predict who was going to win, I predicted I was going to lose the second, or 2, 3, 4, and 5. I was going to win 1 and lose 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I actually ended up winning 3. I was very surprised by that because part of the reason for that is that he put his Selice, he put his Fedor on his Selice instead of on his Freerin, which meant that I got to ult with Freerin before he did. So as you can see, that I'm pretty excited for the entire match. Right here, I ult first. He just barely starts to ult, but then dies. And then it's easy to clean up from there. So, but I predicted that I was going to lose this one because he has Alna and Zoria, and my team was a fully rush-based team, you know, with Siren and Bonnie and no healing. And as I predicted, he took the win on that one. And for this one, I knew I wasn't going to stand any sort of chance with, because he's got freaking almost fully upgraded Gwyneth behind Gunnar. And my team was very campy and stally, and I was relying on doing most of my damage through Surging Spell. And this team did give me quite a few wins to get me this far, but it is very easily counterpicked if the enemy has a giant DPS of most sorts. And my team 5 was a joke that I made just to try to, because I don't really have enough good units to actually make a team 5 in this league. It did actually pull off 2 wins out of the 15 matches that I had, not that either of them mattered. So my team 5 was kind of a joke. However, when I look at his team 5, I see that his team 5 is entirely based on Marcial's DPS. So when I thought my way through how I want to try to counterpick him here, I arrived at certain conclusions. So I left my team 3 mostly intact, but, well, actually I changed quite a bit. So let's go look at what I've decided to attempt to directly counterpick him from last time. So I moved my team 2 over to team 1 because I believe that my burst team will still be able to take out his Perseus team. It's a little bit sketchy because I do get squished very easily, but I have a big Paragon advantage, and ideally I'm pulling all his guys into the corner over there, which means that Damon's going to take a step forward, which means that Perseus is going to be up here fighting Damon for a little bit, and I've got my Bonnie here specifically because his Perseus was positioned there last time, so if he does the same thing, he's getting a haste reduction debuff. And yeah, overall, I believe that if he leaves the same Perseus team here, I have a very good chance of pulling out the win pretty easily with this team, but it is slightly sketchy. I am slightly scared that Perseus is just going to get unaffected, come in, like, ult everybody, and then finish the job. So I'm slightly sketchy, but I have such a big Paragon advantage that I don't think it's going to matter. Also, I'm pretty sure Mahira, like, has priority on all the moves in the game that start like immediately. So all the moves that would normally buff immediately and give Perseus his unaffected status, I think Mahira stuns them before they do that, so they have to do that after Mahira's stun and or charm, which means that there's just a couple extra seconds for me to set everything up before Perseus comes in and starts charging his ult while he's unaffected. And I decided to move my Team 4 to Team 2 here, because I think this is the only spot where my Team 4 might sort of stand a chance. It's sketchy though. If you remember, his Team 2 last time was mostly built around Zoria and Alna Bonnie. He had Alna Bonnie right there. I don't remember it doesn't matter where Zoria was. But what I'm doing here is something that I've done for a long time against Bonnies, actually. I'm getting his Bonnie to chip away at my Entendre. Entendre does not care about getting chipped away at by Bonnie. And she also gets a pretty big boost, or she's still protecting my Shakir from the backline. So, that said, this is going to be a very stally, campy one because his Ludovic is one of the other units he had here. He's going to have plenty of time to get plenty of healing off throughout all this, and I'm just going to be slowly chipping away with Surging Spell, and I'm going to be slowly also like surviving infinitely with Damien, and I think there's going to be plenty of time for Coco to get her ult off here, which is going to make me even tankier than him. That's kind of what I'm banking on here, is that once his Zoria starts trying to Goomba Stomp me, I'm going to have so much defense that I'm going to be chipping away more effectively than him, and I'm going to make it through his Alna, who is not paneled. And then I'm going to slowly get back there. I'm probably going to have to deal with like 3 Zoria ults, but eventually I'm hoping to get to Bonnie. But it's a little bit sketchy because it does give his Bonnie plenty of time to just wail away at me. And this team did lose to a couple Bonnies that just survived too long last round. And his Ludovic also is going to have plenty of time for healing, but his Ludovic might run out of healing. That's the thing, another thing that I think I might have the advantage on here. So I did this because I think this is the only team that that my Mauler team kind of stands a chance against him. So I could have moved my Team 1 here. I think if I had moved my old Team 1 here, which was this sort of team. It was Ludovic, Thoran, Shamira, but it had twins and Louis May to just be a very, very solid team hiding under Wingguard. I think that team would pretty easily beat his Zoria Bonnie team, honestly. But I'm aiming for 4 wins instead of 3 wins for some reason, just because I can. So I'm making things slightly riskier than necessary, I think, doing this instead of just having the other team here. But, oh well, this is my choice and I'm sticking to it. So, the adjustment that I made with Team 3 here, I went ahead and I put my Lily May here just in case he does switch his Theodore to his Freerin, so that I will continue to have the advantage there, and I been able to do that, I had to, break up the Pandora Tassi combo. So my Tassi, I think, ended up not being used this time, but my Pandora, you might notice, is going to be helping out my Chimera here as I try to cheese with. Why do I always forget? Okay, Dunlinger. And I'm doing this because his entire plan is to just get Marseille going on the range chart square, and just, Marseille does way too much damage. But if I just stop Marseille from doing anything, then get my Chimera to ult at the same time, I think my Chimera is going to have plenty of time to just wipe his entire team before anything interesting happens. And Thorin's chain doesn't really need to accomplish anything. Thorin just needs to take a few hits, and his job is done. Alright, so I believe that this is going to be a pretty easy win, but it is a very specific setup, very specifically countering his setup, and yeah, so that's that. And like I said, I switched to this from last time. It was all Sunlance because I had the 3 ult combo coming off like immediately with the Iron and the everybody. But if I don't have 3 ults popping off immediately, that's no longer nearly as cool, so I went ahead and switched to Swift Heal. And I don't think it's going to matter because I think the twins on Freerin are going to wipe his team before he gets a chance to do anything. And even if like I said, even if he does switch his Thorn to his Freerin, I'm just going to Lily May it. So, and of course he could completely switch all his teams up and things could get interesting. We'll see. And another thing that I noticed on this team after watching all the matches last round was that I kept losing because the Phantomal here, whatever his name is, Blight Shroom, would boop my Freerin when my Freerin was on the front line like this, and everybody was kind of like that. Freerin would get stunned for a second, and that lost me a number of rounds that I probably would have been fine on if she hadn't. So I put her back a little bit, buffed her a little bit, and I think this team is, if he doesn't change anything, then it's a very, very easy win here. And if he does, then this is still an extremely solid team. And for the memes, this is my meme team that is specifically half countering him. I'm just going to get obliterated, but his team 4 was the scariest of all of his teams last round, in my opinion. Because he has a almost fully upgraded Gwyneth behind a Gunner. I think I already mentioned that, but he also had her on Aliceth. So, and with Siren, so there's no, tricky Merlin spells going on. This does make him somewhat squishy, but ultimately I don't feel like I have anything that can reasonably counter that, so yeah, I'm just using my random, I probably should have just put Chippy and Hammy here for fun, but I'm just pretending to counter him by slowing down all of his guys in the corner, getting him to fully target my backline, and Odie is going to maybe manage to get that Gunner down, maybe. And this would actually be like an interesting fully cheese strategy, if not for the fact that he has Siren. His Siren's just going to kill me. He's just going to deal... It doesn't have to deal much damage to take out like all of these guys. And so even though I'm making his Gwyneth a little bit useless back here, yeah, this team doesn't stand a chance. It would be absolutely hilarious if we put up a fight, though. So that's that. That's my strategic adjustment to try to take out my next opponent and actually make it to the next round before I get absolutely slaughtered. So yeah, I think overall I do think I have an advantage on all 4 of those matches if he doesn't change anything. So hopefully he changes some things, and we'll see something interesting happen. Anyways, those are my thoughts on that, and yeah, thanks for watching.